Standard 8. So, this is our next session with SST Geography Chapter 2. Our today's chapter is Land, Soil, Water, Natural Vegetation and Wild Resources. I repeat the name of the chapter: Land, Soil, Water, Natural Vegetation and Wild Resources. Note down everything: name of the chapter, number of the chapter and the subject, of course. Okay, now this is part 1. We are going to cover this chapter in 2 parts. Okay, as you have seen the name of the chapter, we are going to discuss about the land, soil, water, natural vegetation and wild resources. Everything is going to be discussed in this chapter. So in one part it is not possible. Okay, so we have to complete these chapters in 2 sessions. So for the first session we will see land, what are the uses of that land. Okay, further we will see conservation of land resources. How would we conserve this land resources? Okay, then we will move to the soil, factors of soil formation. How is the soil formed? Okay, how is the soil formed? Then degradation of soil and conservation measures. Further we will see about water. Okay, what are the problems of water availability? We will also see in this chapter. How could we conserve the water resources? This will also be shown in this chapter. Okay, natural vegetation and wildlife. We will discuss about our natural vegetation and of course about the wildlife of our country. Distribution of natural vegetation. How is the natural vegetation distributed everywhere? In which forms? Next, how can we conserve this natural vegetation and wildlife? What steps has the government taken to conserve all these things? To conserve water also, what is the government taking the step? How are they encouraging the people for it? Okay, to conserve the wildlife, because you know many of the animals are getting extinct, they are getting disappeared, you can say. Okay, so how can we save them? Hunting is prohibited now. You can't hunt the animals, you can't cut the trees. So for conserving natural vegetation, what steps are to be taken? Such kind of points we are going to discuss in this chapter. Okay, so now let's see about the land. Now land, soil, water are the resources which belong to the abiotic resources. Okay, and are the most important resources, because without water our life is not possible. Without soil, of course, the plants cannot survive. Okay, so land, water, soil, these all are the most important resources. Okay, whereas natural vegetation and wildlife resources come from biotic resources. What is biotic and abiotic? You have learnt in class 7th also and in class 6th also. Biotic means having life and abiotic means having the world having no life. Okay, so natural vegetation and wildlife resources come under biotic resource. Wildlife means animals, so of course they are counted in biotic resources. And natural vegetation means plants, forest, such kind of things. So they all are, plants have life, we know that. Okay. Now either biotic or abiotic, both type of resources are exhaustible in nature. Exhaustible in nature means they are being used. Okay, they are being used. So judicial use of these resources has to be there for enhancing their longevity. Means if you want to use this resources, okay, and if no steps, if the government or anybody had not taken a judicial step, these resources would have been in a very less quantity with us. Like whether we take it in the form of animals, whether we take it in the form of water pollution or anything, if the government had not taken a judicial step, all these resources, whether it is abiotic or biotic, we would have not taken a single care of it. So whatever resources we have got, whether it is land, soil, water, anything, they all are the important resources of our life, our human beings, you can say. Okay, and these resources, either of any forms, they are being used by us. Okay, and so a judicial use of these resources has to be there for enhancing their longevity. Means if you want these resources for a long time, for a long period, you have to use them very carefully. Land is among the most important natural resource because on that we live. So it is the important natural resource. Okay, land covers about 30% of the total area of the earth. Means our earth, 70% we know it is water and 30% land. Okay, and on this 30%, 90% of the world population occupies. 90% of the earth world population occupies this 30% of land. Okay, and the remaining land is either sparsely populated or uninhabited. Sparsely populated means very less people, either they are living there or it is inhabited. Uninhabited means where nobody lives. Means we, the population living in this world, 90% of the population is living on the only 30% of that land. Just think. Okay, now why this uneven distribution? This uneven distribution of population is different in different parts of the world is mainly due to the varied characteristics of land and climate. We all know that the population everywhere is not the same. Okay, now this population differs because of the climate. Okay, where the climate is hot, you would see people very less there. Where the climate is cold, you would see people more. Okay, and where the climate is moderate, you would see people living in a more quantity there. So this uneven distribution of population is because of the land and characteristics of land and climate. Land, I have told you about the climate. Okay, now the population differs because of the climate, but it also differs because of the land. Land means where there is a good, you can say good soil for growing, for agriculture. People prefer living there, right? Because they need the land for agriculture. So that is why the characteristics of land also is the main reason for the uneven distribution of population. Okay, land is unevenly inhabited due to the various factors The first is land and then the climate. It can also be the water. Okay. Now where there is good facility of water, or you can say good availability of water, people would prefer living there, where they could get fresh water to drink. Then comes the fertility of the soil. You have the land with you, but if the soil on that land is not fertile, then it's of no use. So these are all the factors because of which the uneven distribution of population is there. Why there are people sparsely, somewhere sparsely populated, why some places sparsely populated, and why some places are densely populated. Because of land, climate, water, fertility of soil, everything matters here. Normally, the sparsely populated or uninhabited areas are because of rugged topography, steep slopes of the mountain, low-lying areas, susceptible of waterlogging, deserted areas, and thickly forested areas. Okay, sparsely populated. Here they are telling about that why there is why some areas are sparsely means very less populated. The less populated area, I have told you, it is because of the water facility. Deserted area, first thing, in desert agriculture is not possible. Second, there is very less water in the deserts. Okay, so these are the two main reasons. First, why we find less population in the desert areas. Thickly forested areas means inside the dense forest, where you can only live inside the forest but you cannot get anything. You can get fresh air and everything, but what about the other things? Okay, steep slopes of the mountain, living on the mountainous areas, there also you see very sparse population. So the sparsely population is because of rugged topography, steep slopes of the mountain, okay, susceptible of waterlogging, deserted areas, and thickly forested areas. So these are the reasons why they are sparsely populated. Now the densely populated areas of the world, where we find densely populated, where densely means where the people live in a very, you can say, in a very big amount or in a very big number. Okay, so the densely populated areas of the world are plain surface, river valleys, besides the river you can say, okay, which are suitable for land for agriculture, and that's why people prefer to live in such areas, because of, first thing, because of the water facility, and second, the land which they get is good for agriculture. So these are the two areas where you find sparsely populated and densely populated areas. The availability of rich and fertile land make it suitable for living, and huge population resides on it. Now, which is the main reason for the huge population? The main reason are the two reasons: availability of rich and fertile land and good availability of water. So these are the two things on the land which people prefer to see. And furthermore, mineral richness. Okay, water resources. What kind of water resources are there? Whenever we go, now let's take in such a way, whenever we go in search of a water, in search of a place anyway, okay, first thing we ask them, water facility. What will be the water facility? How can we store the water? Right? So that is the thing. Mineral richness, water resources, fertility of soil, and good topographical conditions are important for the land. Okay, for the land. Now, what are these lands used for? Every time it is not used for agriculture. Now, for other purposes, what are it used for? Now, land use refers to the use of land for different purposes. That can be used for agriculture, it can be used for forestry, mining, building houses, roads, and setting up industries. As I told you, that land use, we all know land use immediately comes in mind. It can be used for agriculture. Yes, but not only for agriculture, my dears. It is used for forestry also, because on this land there are forests also, there are roads also, right? People use this land for making their houses, buildings. This land is also used for mining, okay, and setting up industries. So this is commonly termed as land use. Okay. Now this land is being affected by two factors. Which are those? These two factors are physical factors and human factors. Okay? Factors affecting land use are of two kinds. One is physical factor and other is human factor. Now what is physical factor? Physical factor includes topography, soil, climate, and availability of water. These are the physical factors, okay, which affect the land. And the human first, it includes human factors, first includes the population, and then is the technology, and then is the technology. So these are the two main factors that affect the land use. First is physical. Physical means it includes the topography, soil, climate, availability of water. Okay. Now what is topography? Topography means the arrangement of the natural and artificial features of an area. The arrangement of natural and artificial physical feature of an area, that is called topography. Okay, so the physical factors about which we are talking here, first includes the topography, second the soil, third the climate, and fourth is the availability of water. Now how does the human factors affect the land use? It is by the population and the technology. Okay. Now further we can see about the ownership. Now on the basis of the ownership, land can be classified into two. Okay. How? Private land and community land. Private land is owned by individuals. Individual means one person. This is my land, this is his land. So that is individual, one person. Okay. And community land is owned by one community. Okay. Community land is owned by one community for a common use. Common use like for the collection of fodder, fruits, nuts, medicinal herbs. Okay. So such kind of common community lands are called as common property resources. Okay. I hope you are understanding. I'll explain you again. That what is land use? Land use means when the land is used for different purpose. Different purpose means like for agriculture, forestry, building houses, roads and such kind of. When land are used for such purposes, they are called land uses. Okay. Now the factors which are affecting this means the land which is being used, they are of two kinds. The one is physical factor and the other is human factor. Now the physical factor which are affecting the land are topography, soil, climate, availability of water, everything is affecting the land. Okay. And the human factors which affect the land is population and the technology which are being used by the humans. Okay. Now this land is again classified into two. There are private land and community land. Now this private land and community land means the private land is being owned by the individual. Individual means single person for the personal use, you can say. Okay. And then moving to the community land. Now the community land is being owned by a community. The community land is being owned by a community for common uses like collection of fodder, fruits, okay, medicinal herbs, such kind of things. Okay. Now people and their demands are ever growing, but the availability of land is limited. The demands of the people are growing more and more, right? But we know that we have only 30% of the area on the earth to live. Okay. The quality of land also differs from place to place. So people started encroaching the common lands to build up commercial areas, housing complexes in the urban areas and to expand the agricultural land in the rural areas. Means the need of the people are increasing so much, the demand of the people are increasing so much that now they have started giving their personal lands, or you can say the lands for the uses like to build up buildings or some other complexes. Means now we are having the land for agriculture very less. In the rural areas means in the village, you would find in the village only you would find the land for agriculture, but nowadays in city not possible. Very less area in the city for agriculture, because the land which were owned by the people, they have given that land for commercial uses. Commercial uses means they have given that land for making complexes and other things. Now because of this vast change in the land use, we can see the cultural changes in the society. Right? Means the people have started giving their land for the making of complexes, or you can say for some other needs. By this we can see some kind of cultural changes in our society. And now because of this construction activities, or you can say expansion of agriculture, what kind of major threats have been occurred? Land degradation, landslides, soil erosion, desertification. Means the changes that we are trying to bring in the land use pattern. Because of this, such kind of major threats to the environment has been occurred. Okay. fertile land is exploited more and leads to the barrenness if not utilized judicially. Okay, means here it's trying to say that if a crucial step, or you can say if a necessary step is not being taken, then soon it will be seen that the fertile land is not there for agriculture, and this will lead to the barrenness. Barrenness means non-fertile. Means such kind of changes where people have started using the land for such purpose, for building roads, buildings, complexes. Okay, by doing this we are having very less land for agriculture, and when we need the land for agriculture, what do? We cut down the trees. Deforestation. So one day this will lead to the barrenness if not utilized. So we have to take care. We have to use the land also very, very, very carefully. Okay, or else we will lose the fertility of the land and it will lead to barrenness. Barrenness means such type of land where you cannot grow anything. So the land should also be used very properly. Properly means here it's trying to explain us that the land which is fertile, you should use that land for agriculture or for growing trees. But on that fertile land, you should not make buildings, complexes, malls, factories, industries and such kind of things. Yes, but the land which is not of use, for that you can do it. But on the fertile land, no, don't do it. The over-exploitation of mineral resources also make the soil vulnerable to be degraded. Means the mineral resources which we have on our land, we are exploiting that. Exploitation means an action or fact of treating someone unfairly in order to benefit from their work. Okay, but here exploitation means we are neglecting something. We are neglecting something. Okay, so the over exploitation of mineral resources also make the soil vulnerable to be degraded. Okay, vulnerable means exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed either physically or emotionally. Okay, vulnerable to be degraded. Right? Now, as we are talking about the vast changes in the land use over time, let us understand this by looking at a picture. Now, look at the picture here. You are seeing it. Okay? How was the land first? How are we using the land now? The same land is being used, but how? Look at it. Firstly, it was used for agriculture, for grazing of animals. No pollution was there. Okay? Everything was very peaceful and green. But slowly, when the demands, or you can say the uses of the people started changing. Okay? Technology we were talking about. So the new technologies were being used. Previously the houses were of, you can say the kacha houses made up of grass, mud and everything. Then these houses were changed into pakka houses, where now the technology is also being used. Right? Slowly, the change in the land use over time started changing. First it was the kacha road. Now it was changed into cemented road. right, where the vehicles started running. Now the land for agriculture is nil because of the pollution. No good, not good for agriculture. The houses which were very small, now they changed into buildings, complexes, right? And then it became totally populated in the fourth picture. So this is how we have changed the land in as per our use. A vast change in the land use. So this is what I was trying to explain you, or what the lesson is trying to explain you, that we, because of our use, we have bought a very vast, a big change in the land use. The land which were used for agriculture and such purposes, we have built buildings, complexes, factories there. You can see how was the land first in the first picture, and look at the land in the same land in the fourth picture, right? So by this you have understood that how was there a change in land use over time. Okay, now we have seen the uses of the land, but still we have the way to conserve it. We can still save it. How? The growing population and their ever growing demands has led to a large scale destruction of forest cover and arable land, and has created a fear of losing these natural resources. Now the population which is growing, frequently growing population, okay, and as the population is growing, the demand is also growing day by day, right? And because of this, what are we doing? We are trying to cover the forest for our use, because most of the land now we have used for our purpose, for growing buildings, roads, industries, factories and such kind of things. And if this thing goes on, we will lose our natural resources. Okay, because we have started using the arable land also. Arable land means the land which is good for agriculture, which is used for agriculture. But now for our personal use and for because of our growing demands, we have started using the lands which are good for agriculture. And if this continues, it will soon happen that we will lose our natural resources. The present rate of degradation of land must be checked. Okay, so what should we do? We should first check the degradation of our land, the present rate of degradation of our land. Now what is degradation? Degradation means the condition or process of degrading or being degraded. Okay, what is degradation? Degradation means, you can say, like breakdown of something, chemically breakdown, or you can say treat or regard with disrespect, we can say. Okay, so degradation means reduce of energy, the one which we are having right now. Okay, so here degradation, it's trying to tell us that the quality of the land, what is the quality of the land, present rate should be checked. Okay. Okay. Now the common methods used to conserve the land resources. How could we conserve our land resources? By afforestation. Okay. Afforestation means no cutting down of trees, grow more trees. Okay. Then land reclamation. Reclamation means the process of claiming something back to asserting a right. Okay, means land reclamation means we can use that land. Land reclamation means we can, the process of creating new lands, you can say. Okay, from oceans, seas, river beds, lake beds. Okay, how could we create new lands? Okay, so this should also be there. If we want to conserve our land, this is also one kind of a process that is called land reclamation. Okay, then more we can regulate the use of regulated use of chemical pesticides. For agriculture, we are using chemical pesticides. That chemical pesticides makes the land unfertile very soon. So the use of that should be also not be done regularly. Okay, pesticides and fertilizers, and check on overgrazing. Overgrazing means again and again grazing of the animals should not be done on the land. That is also one type of, you can say, makes the land unfertile. Okay, so these are the common methods by which we can conserve the land resources. We can bring the land back to the use. Okay, now by making the rules related to soil and land conservation, and by making the farmers educated regarding the negative aspects of overgrazing, there are some rules also. Okay, means not cutting down the trees frequently. Anyway, only cut down the trees which are dry. Okay, where on which no leaves are grown back. You can cut down such kind of trees, but the greenery should be there. No trees should be cut. So here it's telling that by making rules related to soil, means soil erosion is there. How could you conserve the soil? How could you save the soil from getting eroded? Okay, land conservation by afforestation, no cutting down of the trees, growing of more trees. How should we save our forest? So these kind of rules. Okay, and by educating our farmers, teaching them the new technologies, how could they grow more on their land? Okay, we have to explain them the negative aspects of overgrazing. Government can play an active role to preserve the soil and land, and by doing this, the government can also play an active role. Okay, the overutilization of fertilizer also done by the farmers. If they are not known about it, if they are not knowing about it. Okay, so such kind of things, by doing such kind of things, we can conserve our land resources. Now moving to soil. Now what is soil? Soil is the thin layer of grainy substance covering the surface of the earth. Okay, on the surface of the earth, the thin layer of the grainy substance which you see is the soil. Okay, it is closely linked to the land. It is closely linked to the land, and these landforms determine the type of soil. There are different type of soil. Whatever you see on the land, all the sands are of different types. Okay, we will cover up this also in further when we are going to see the chapter in the formation of soil. Okay, factors of soil formation. In that I will explain you about it. But first here you should know that our landforms determine the type of soils. Okay, and now this soil is made up of, every time the soil is not, you can say the mud is the soil and this is the soil. No, the soil is made up of organic matter, minerals, weathered rocks found on the earth. Okay, now it takes hundred of years to form few centimeter of soil. That's why it has been said that you have to conserve everything, whether it is a land, whether it is soil, water, whatever it is there. Okay, because in the formation of these resources it takes hundred of years, my dears. You think that every year there is rainfall, we will get plenty of rain. Why? To save water. But this is not the fact. The water which is there with you right now, it is been saved from years and years. The land which we are using for agriculture, if everybody would have thought the same way as we are thinking today, do you think we would have got the land for agriculture right now? No, na? So that is the thing, that the soil also takes hundred of years to form a few centimeter. So you have to conserve that also. Okay. Now, soil profile refers on the layered structure which spreads from the parent rock to the topsoil surface. Now, what is a parent rock? What is topsoil surface? I will explain you everything in the factors of soil formation. Okay. Now, as I have told you that the soil is made up of organic matter, minerals and weathered rocks. Now, this happens through the process of weathering. What is weathering? Weathering is the breaking up and decay of exposed rocks by temperature changes, frost, actions, plants, animals and human activities. So, this right mix of minerals and organic matter make the soil fertile. Now, there are four types of soils. Okay, there are four layers of the soil profile. Which are they? First layer is the topsoil with humus and vegetation. Second layer is the subsoil with sand, slit and clay. Third is the weathered rock material and fourth is the parent rock. Okay, so how many layers of rock are there? How many layers of soil profile? Four. Topsoil, subsoil, weathered rock material and parent rock. Okay, in different geographic regions different soil will be observed. Means as per the characteristics of the place, the soil also changes. Various geoclimatic regions make the soil distinctions and varied fertility of the soil occurs. Means as you move on in different places and as per the climatic regions, the fertility of the soil also differs. Means if you go to the area where there is too much of rain or by the river side areas, you can say, okay, the areas which are besides the river, there you will find the soil very fertile. Same if you move on to the desert area where there is less rain, there you will find the soil, but the fertility of that soil will be very less. Okay, so here it's telling that as per the geoclimatical regions, the soil distinction and the fertility of the soil is different. Okay, now different types of soil are different for the type of crops also. All the crops do not grow in the same type of soil. Each and every crop needs different type of soil to grow. Okay, now how are these soil formed? Okay, let's see some factors of the soil formation. Now the major factors of soil formation are the nature of the parent rock and climatic factor. Now what is a parent rock? Okay, parent rock means the original rock from which something else was formed. It is mainly used in the context of soil formation, where the parent rock normally has a large influence on the nature to the resulting soil. Okay. Now what is parent rock? Parent rock is the original rock from which the soil is being formed. So in the formation of the soil, the nature of parent rock and the climatic factor matters. Okay. Other factors are, now what are the other factors? The two main factors we have seen, that is the parent rock and the climatic factors. What kind of climate is there? That depends upon the soil depends upon the climatic factor. Okay. Now the other factor for the soil formation are topography, role of organic material and time taken for the composition of the soil formation. Means how much time is it taking for the soil formation? That is also other factor of the soil formation. Okay, and these differs from place to place. Place to place means we know that the climate everywhere is not the same. The climate everywhere is not the same. Okay, parent rock determines the color, texture. Now here we are talking about the texture. The texture of the soil is also not the same everywhere. The look, you can say, the look of the soil is not everywhere the same. Somewhere it is grainy, somewhere it is sandy. Okay, so everywhere the soil formation is, soil texture is different, color is different. Somewhere you would see red soil, somewhere you would see black soil. So the color also matters because of the parent rock. Okay, chemical properties, minerals, content, permeability. Okay, what is permeability? Permeability means liquid or gases to pass through it. Okay, means how easily does the sand soak water, gases like oxygen, carbon dioxide and such kind of things. Okay, so these are the things also that matter in the soil formation. Relief determines the altitude and slope and accumulation of the soil. Flora, fauna. Flora means the vegetation and fauna means the wildlife. Okay, flora, fauna and microorganisms affect the rate of humus formation in soil. So these are all of the factors that come for soil formation. Okay, these are all used for soil formation. Okay, more also there is something which affects the soil formation, that is climate determines temperature and rainfall, which influence the rate of weathering. Weathering, I have told you, the breaking up and decay of exposed rocks. Okay, and humus in the process of soil formation. The role of climatic changes like temperature and rainfall is also the main factor through which this depends upon the process of the soil formation. Okay, time determines the thickness of soil profile. It takes hundreds of years to just make an centimeter of soil. I have told you. Okay, and soil formation is not the result of only a single factor mentioned above, whatever we have mentioned above. Okay, the topography and the role of organic material and all. In fact, it is the mixture of all the geoclimatic factors available. Only one factor is not the result of the soil formation. Okay, all the geoclimatic factors are available in a mixture of a soil. The presence of microorganism also plays a very important role in the soil. The microorganisms which are there, they also play an important role in the nutrient cycle and mineral balance. Okay, so these are all the factors. Now with a small diagram, okay, I'll show you the factors affecting the soil formation. Now the factors affecting the soil formation, we have seen the parent rock, the climate, and right, the relief, the flora, fauna and the microorganism, and time. The time determines the thickness of soil profile. Parent rock. Now the parent rock determines the color, texture, chemical properties, mineral content and permeability. And how much capacity does it have to soak the water? Okay. Next is the climate, the temperature, the rainfall and the rate of withering. This also are the factors of soil formation. Next is relief, that is the altitude and slope determine the accumulation of soil. Then the flora and the fauna that affect the rate of humus formation. And of course the time also I have told you. In how much time did the soil form, that also determines the thickness of the soil profile. Okay. So next we will see the degradation of soil and conservation methods. How can we conserve this? Now what is degradation of soil? Or you can say what is soil degradation? Soil degradation is the physical, chemical and biological decline of soil quality. It can be the loss of organic matter, decline in soil fertility and the structural condition, erosion, adverse changes in salinity, acidity and alkalinity. Okay, so this is soil degradation, the physical, chemical and biological decline in soil quality. Okay, so degradation of soil should also be measured, means how much soil is fertile. Okay, now the major threats of the soil formation, the major threats of the soil is soil erosion and depletion. Soil erosion and depletion. Okay, human beings and natural factors can lead to the degradation of soil. Natural factors how? Flood, storm, okay, such kind of things can be responsible for degradation of soil. And human beings how? By using the fertile land for building roads, buildings, houses, complexes. Okay, so such things can be responsible for degradation of soil. So that is being called human beings and natural factors are responsible for degradation of soil. Okay, factors which lead to soil degradation are. Now, what kind of factors are there? The soil degradation can be by deforestation. Deforestation means cutting down of trees, okay? Overgrazing, where the animals are being sent to graze, and when the land is overgrazed, that can also lead to degradation of soil. Overuse of chemical fertilizers, when we use too much of chemical fertilizers, okay, rainwater, landslides and flood, I have of course told you, okay. So these are the natural factors and human factors, human beings, which are responsible for the soil degradation. Soil conservation refers to the protection, efficient use of soil and preservation of soil resources. How can we do that? Means now we have seen how are we losing the soil, right? But there are still many ways by which we can conserve the soil, and these methods are mulching, contour barriers, rock dam, terrace farming, intercropping, contour ploughing, shelter belts, etc. Okay, so there are still methods of conserving soil, as we had seen the methods of conserving land, right? In the land conservation, we had seen how can we conserve the land. We had seen that we can conserve the land by afforestation. Afforestation means we should not cut down the trees at all, okay. Then land reclamation. Land reclamation means we can make the land by river beds, lake beds and everything, okay. By frequent use of chemical pesticides, we should stop the frequent use of chemical pesticides, okay. And we should also check the overgrazing, means no overgrazing should be there. So by these terms or by these methods, we can conserve the land. Now we are talking about the conservation of soil. How can we conserve the soil? So conserving the soil can be done by mulching. Now what is mulching? Mulching is the method in which a bare ground between plants is covered with a layer of organic matter like straws. It helps to retain soil moisture. Means whenever you grow something in mulching in a bare ground, on a bare ground means on an empty ground, okay, between the plants means if there are rows of plants, in one row you will grow the organic matter like straw, okay, or grass you can say. Then the plant which you want, then again the next row will be of the straw, then the plant, then again the straw plant. This is called mulching, okay. And why it has been done? Because this method helps to retain soil moisture. The soil moisture will be constantly there. So this has been called mulching. So this is also one type of a method where you can conserve the soil, okay. Next is contour barrier. Now what is contour barrier? In the contour barrier, the method in which the stones, grass, soil are used to build barriers along the contours, okay. Now what are the contours? Barriers. Contour barriers are contour strips which intercept downslope flowing water and soil particles, okay. I'll show you the picture afterwards by which you can understand how does this mean, okay. What are contour barriers? So contour barriers is one are the method in which stones, grass, soil are used to build the barrier along the contours, okay. Trenches are made in front of them to collect water. Means in contour barriers, trenches means you can say a small strip of line is been made, in which they are being, or the water is being collected in that. Okay, the water is being collected in that. So in contour barriers, trenches are being made. Okay, what are trenches? Trenches is a type of excavation or depression in the ground that is generally deeper than it is wide. Means it is not wide, it is, you can say, just thick as our hand, but it is more deeper. Okay, by this what happens? The water collects into it. Okay, so the water collects, and then that water is then used for contour barriers. Okay, so this is also one type of soil conservation. Next is terrace farming. Terrace farming, broad flat steps or terraces are made on the steep slopes so that flat surfaces are available to grow crops. It reduces the surface runoff and soil erosion. Means on terrace farming, if the farming is being done, the first thing is that no soil can be eroded, because it is on the top of the, it is on the terrace, means it is on the top. So soil erosion is, it reduces the soil erosion, first thing. Okay, and broad flat steps and terraces are made up on steep slopes. Okay, so that it can be used for growing the crops. So these are some of the methods like mulching, contour barriers, terrace farmings, which can be used for conserving soil. Okay, there are still more methods, we have read it, like intercropping, contour plowing, shelter belts. What are these? Now in intercropping method, different crops are grown in alternate rows and are sown in different times to protect the soil from rain wash. Intercropping means the different crops are grown in alternate rows. Means if it is one row is of one crop, second row is of other crop, third row is of other crop. Okay, and why it is being done? It is being done to protect the soil from rain wash. Okay, contour plowing now. Contour plowing is the process of plowing parallel to the contours on a hill slope. Contour plowing is done on a hill slope to form a natural barrier to stop water from flowing down the slope. By contour plowing, the flow of water stops. Okay, so why it is being done? Because on the slope, in contour plowing, what is being done? A natural barrier is being made to stop the water from flowing down the slope, and through this the soil does not erode very frequently. Now the shelter belts. What are these? Shelter belts are the rows of trees planted to check the wind movement. Shelter belts are the rows of trees, and this is mainly done in the coastal and dry regions. Okay, in the coastal and dry regions, rows of trees are planted to check the wind movement, because with the movement of the wind the soil can erode. So the shelter belts method is being used there. In this, the rows of the trees are being planted, and to check the wind movement and to protect the soil cover. Next is mixed farming and crop rotation. Mixed farming means to grow on one land, to grow many types of crops. Okay? Means not only one type of agriculture has been done, farming has been done. Farming of many types, that is called mixed farming. Okay? And crop rotation, same thing. Are also some of the methods to improve the fertility of the soil. Okay, so mixed farming and crop rotation are also some of the methods to improve the fertility of the soil. Means in mixed farming, what is being done? In mixed farming, the farmers grow the crops also, and with that, once their crop is been grown, on the next they will grow something for their fodder, you can say, fodder for their cattle. Okay, and this is done to improve the fertility of the soil. Nextly is crop rotation. Crop rotation means to rotate, keep on rotating the crops, means not growing the crop of one type of crop every time. Sometimes they can grow peanuts, sometimes they can grow potatoes, sometimes they can grow onions, wheat, anything. So this is called crop rotation and mixed farming. And why is this being done? This has been done to improve the fertility of the soil. Okay. Now excessive use of fertilizer, you know that the insects, they spoil the crops, and because of this the farmers use pesticides and fertilizers. Okay, now the fertilizer is being used to make the soil fertile, right? But chemical fertilizers are not good for the soil. Too much, excessive means too much of use. Okay, so excessive use of fertilizers is also a cause of soil degradation. If we use natural fertilizers like cow dung and other things, it is good. Okay, but chemical fertilizers, they spoil the fertility of the soil, and same goes for the pesticides. Excessive use of pesticides are not also good, and this leads to the loss of the fertility of soil. Use of high yield crop variety is the major cause of concern. Now here is the picture. Okay, in the first picture it is showing you the terrace farming. How is the terrace farming being done? Second is the contour ploughing. In the contour ploughing, you can see parallel to the contours of a hill slope to form a natural barrier. A natural barrier is being made, okay, so that for water to flow down the slope. Okay, and the below one is the shelter belt. This shelter belt is the row of trees. You can see the row of plants. The row of trees can be seen very easily, and this is been done in the coastal and dry regions. Why? To check the wind movement, to protect the soil cover. Okay, to protect the soil cover. This is the shelter belt. Terrace farming done on the terraces, so that soil erosion can be stopped. Okay, and the contour ploughing, where a natural barrier is being formed to flow down for the water to flow down the slope. So these are some kinds of soil conservation which can be done. Okay, do you know? This topic is named as Do You Know? Why? Because here are some facts which we may not be knowing, right? So our first fact, Australia has the most amount of reptiles in the world. Australia has the most amount of reptiles in the world. Okay, over 750 different species. There are 750 different species, but only found in Australia. Now, what are reptiles? Reptiles are a class of vertebrates made up mostly of snakes, turtles, lizards, or crocodiles. Okay. Now, these reptiles are recognized by their dry and scaly skin. Okay. They mostly, you can say, they crawl on the ground. Okay. So these are the reptiles, and most amount of reptiles are found in Australia. There are more stars in the space than there are grains of sand on the beach. You must have seen the sand on the beach. Okay. Now each and every, you can say, on each and every beach, as much as sand you see, okay, more than that there are stars in the space. Okay. Next, it is impossible to lick your own elbow. You knew this? It is impossible to lick your own elbow. Okay. You all must be playing Ludo, na? L-U-D-O, Ludo. For playing the Ludo, you need a dice. On that dice, the numbers are there. Okay. So, the opposite sides of the dice always add up to 7. Whenever you, whenever you add the numbers, means if this is the dice, if in front of me it is 6, then on the back of it, it will be 1. So 6 and 1, 7. Okay. Now same, if on other side it is 5, then on the opposite side it will be 2. So 5 and 2, yes, 5 and 2, 7. Okay. So this is the opposite sides of the dice always add up to 7. You must not be knowing. Now just have a look on the dice if you have it, and see that the opposite sides of the dice always add up to 7. You know, everybody has seen the apple, right? But these apples float in the water. Have you ever put apples in the water? Just see. Whenever you put the apple in the water, it will start floating. Why? Because there is 1/4 air in it. Because the apple has 1/4 of air. So the apples float in the water. And why do they float? Because they are 1/4 of air. Okay. Now the oldest living tree. You all have seen the tree, right? But the oldest living tree in the world is in California and is around 4,843 years old. Okay, 4,843 years old. This is the oldest tree, but is found in California. Now the tallest tree in the world. The tallest tree in the world is around 379.1 feet high. Okay, and this tree is also found in California. Okay. Now while discussing the soil, I had told you that it takes 100 of years to make just 1 centimeter of soil. It takes 100 of years to make only 1 centimeter of soil. And the last is the dripping tap. Dripping tap means the tap which is been leaking, drop of water. The dripping tap wastes 1200 liters of water a year. So these are some of the facts which you should know. Now moving to the vocabulary. Our today's first word, exhaustible. 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 Exhaustible means capable of being used up. Capable of being used up. Okay. Next is exploitation. Next is exploitation. Exploitation means the action or fact of treating someone unfairly in order to benefit from their work. In order to benefit from their work. I repeat again. Exploitation, the action of or fact of treating someone unfairly in order to benefit from their work. Okay. Next is vulnerable. VULNERABLE. Vulnerable means exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed, especially physically or emotionally. Okay. Next is destruction. Destruction means the action or process of causing so much damage to something that it no longer exists or can be repaired. Destruction. Okay. Next, reclamation. The process of claiming something back or of reasserting a right. Reclamation. We had seen in the land reclamation. How could we make new land? Okay. Next is distinction. Distinction means a difference or contrast between similar things or people. Distinction, a difference or contrast between similar things or people. Next, permeable. Permeable means liquids or gases to pass through it. Permeable means liquids or gases to pass through it. Allowing liquids or gases to pass through it. Okay? Allowing liquids or gases to pass through it. Next, accumulation. ACCUMULATION. Accumulation means gather together or acquire an increasing number of or quantity of. Okay. Next, topography. Topography means the arrangement of the natural and artificial physical features of an area. And the last is arable. Arable means land used at or suitable for growing crops. Land used or suitable for growing crops. Now these were our today's vocabulary. Means the word which we had gone through the chapter. Okay. Now we will move to a short exercise. First one. Dash is among the most important natural resources. dash is among the most suitable natural resources. What is the answer? Land. L-A-N-D. Land is among the most important natural resources. Next, which natural areas are sparsely populated? Sparsely means less populated. Which areas are sparsely populated? They are the desert areas or thick forested areas. Desert areas or thick forested areas are sparsely populated. Okay. Now what is land use? What is land use? Next question. Okay. The answer is land is used for different purposes such as agriculture, forestry, mining, building houses, roads, setting up industries. This is commonly termed as land use. Means the land used for forestry, mining, building houses, roads, setting up industries, such kind of commonly used lands are called land use. Okay. On what basis? Next question. On what basis the land can be divided into? The land can be divided on the basis of ownership. The land can be divided on the basis of ownership, that is private land and community land. Okay. Next, name the methods which can be adopted to check the rate of land degradation. Now, by which methods can we adopt to check the rate of land degradation? By which methods? Tell me. I had explained you by explaining the chapter. So the methods are afforestation, land reclamation, regulated use of chemical pesticides and fertilizers, okay, and check on overgrazing are some of the common methods which can be adopted to check the rate of land degradation. Understood? By afforestation, land reclamation, regulated use of chemical pesticides and fertilizers, and check on overgrazing. Next, what is soil? The thin layer of grainy substance covering the surface of the earth. The thin layer of grainy substance covering the surface of the earth is soil. Now the next question, mention the 4 layers of the soil profile. Which are the 4 layers of the soil profile? I'll explain you. It is first layer, topsoil with humus and vegetation. Second layer, subsoil with sand, slit and clay. Third layer, weathered rock material, and fourth layer, parent rock. Okay. Which factors cause degradation of soil? Now, which factors cause the degradation of soil? Which factors cause the degradation of soil? It is deforestation, overgrazing, overuse of chemical fertilizers or pesticides, rainwater, landslides and floods are the major factors which leads to soil degradation. I repeat again, deforestation, overgrazing, overuse of chemical fertilizers or pesticides, rainwater, landslides and floods are the factors which leads to soil degradation. Okay? And moving to the last question, what is soil conservation? Soil conservation is the prevention of loss of the topmost layer of soil from erosion or prevention of reduced fertility caused by the overuse. In short, you can say soil conservation is the prevention of loss of the topmost layer of the soil from erosion. Okay, the prevention of loss of the topmost layer of the soil from erosion. This is called soil conservation. Okay, so here in this session we have seen about the different things like land uses, conservation of land resources we have seen, and soil, how is the soil formed, and the degradation and conservation methods of soil. Okay, in part 2 we will see about the water, problems of water availability, conservation of water resources, natural vegetation and wildlife, okay, and distribution of natural vegetation, how it has been done on the earth, and the conservation of these natural vegetation and wildlife. Okay, till that time study whatever you have written and whatever I have explained. I'll meet you soon in the second session with the second part of the same chapter. Till then, have a nice day. Take care of your health. Bye.